Hello everybody, this is Bob Probst with the Probst Law Firm in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. This is Wednesday, July 1st, 2020. It's another installment of our Wednesday at 4 o'clock going live on Facebook to talk to you a little bit about some part of the law that you might find helpful or interesting. As I've said in the past, I will be trying to go on Facebook Live every Wednesday at 4 o'clock to talk about something. And if you have an idea or a topic or anything else you'd like me to talk about, then please send me an email at bob@probstlawfirm.com or go on the Facebook page, Probst Law Firm, and send me a message. I'll be happy to do it. So today's topic is a topic that some people don't want to talk about, that some people don't want to deal with, that some people don't want to have to think about even. And it's the possibility of having to file bankruptcy. And the reason I am talking about that today is because obviously under the COVID-19 crisis, we have seen a record number of people who have been either laid off completely, furloughed, or their hours have been cut, or some business owners or businesses have to shut down. And even as we open around the country now, the businesses are opening with 50% capacity in a lot of cases. So they don't need as many employees, or the employees they do have aren't working the same number of hours. So COVID's really, they say it's created such a havoc on our economy, almost like the crash of 2008. The last statistic I saw showed that 20 million people have filed for unemployment in 2020. 20 million people have filed for unemployment. So let that sink in a minute. What does that say about where people are today financially? It means that a lot of people are struggling. It means that if you're one of those people, you are not alone. It means that if you have a friend or family member who is one of those people who is struggling financially just to get by day to day, that person is not alone. There's millions of people out there in the same boat trying to figure out how to proceed, how to make things work. And there are a couple of things I want to talk to you in general today about bankruptcy that you can do. Next week, I'm going to go more specifically into Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And then the week after that, I'm going to go more specifically into Chapter 13 bankruptcy. The how to do it, the what to do, what's included in it, and how it's going to work. So next week will be a little bit more deeper dive into Chapter 7. The week after that, a deeper dive into Chapter 13. But today, let's just talk generally about the whole issue of debt, bankruptcy, financial freedom, anything like that. So there's a couple of different things you can do when you're struggling financially. You don't have to file bankruptcy necessarily. You could find a way to earn more money and then use that money to pay down your debt. Obviously, that's more difficult today in this day and age because of COVID-19 and the fact that our government has shut down a lot of our businesses. You can go to credit counseling. Credit counseling, there's lots of services there that they go there, you work with them, and then they work with your creditors to help you get your debts paid off over time. In fact, I met with 2 clients over the last 2 weeks who came in thinking they needed bankruptcy, but we found, after looking at everything, we found other ways to help them get out of the financial situation they're in. We came up with different strategies, different things they could do so that they don't have to file bankruptcy. Maybe there's other ways for them to take care of the financial stress they're under. But unfortunately for many, many people, bankruptcy is going to be the best thing that they can do. And bankruptcy is not easy to do. I'll be honest with you. It's not something simple. It's emotional. It makes you take a hard look at your financial life. It makes you take a hard look at your assets and your debts. And it makes you make a decision about where you are now and where you want to be down the road. If you file bankruptcy, it's a very large petition that you're going to need to complete. You're going to have to list all your assets. You're going to have to list all your debts. You're going to have to list all your sources of income. You're going to have to do a statement of financial affairs. You're going to have to list all your creditors. You're going to have to find all your creditors. You're going to have to list the amounts of your debt. And it's an eye-opening experience for a lot of people, because for a lot of people, it's the first time that they've sat down and said, I got to look at where I am. It's the first time they've actually added up all their debts. It's the first time they've actually seen all their debts laid out in a list by name, account number, and amount. Not only the amount that they owe, but the amount they got to pay back each month, for example, if it's a credit card. So it is a difficult thing to go through. I want people to understand that. But it doesn't have to be paralyzing. It doesn't have to be an experience that you just would rather continue on as you are in the situation that you have now, rather than face the situation and make a plan for moving forward. What you'll end up doing in a nutshell is sitting down, usually with an attorney, giving the attorney some information about your financial assets, debts, incomes, things of that nature. And then there'll be a application, a petition that you would complete. The attorney will help you complete. And sometimes those things run 50 or 60 pages, but there'll be a petition that they'll help you complete. And then you'll be able to file that. Once you file it, then you will have to move forward with that petition, and depending on whether you do a Chapter 7 or a Chapter 13 will depend on how you move forward, and we'll go over that in more detail next week and the week after. But in the end, what bankruptcy does for you when you're finished, again, depending on which chapter you do, but it will either eliminate all of your consumer debt, credit cards, all of that kind of debt, medical bills, credit cards, unsecured loans, things of that nature, so that you, when you're done, are out from underneath that rock of financial payments that you have to make each month, right? It lets you sort of free up your monthly income to then be able to do other things. Even if you have cars that you've secured, that you got a secured loan against, or a house that you've got a secured loan against, bankruptcy may still be something that you are able to do. And again, we'll talk about that more when we do Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. But generally, what you need to know about bankruptcy, first of all, again, it may not be the only remedy. You may find other remedies that you can do. But if it is your remedy, if you are willing to figure out where you are now and how you got there, and where you want to be 3 years from now, depending again which chapter you do, then it might be something you want to look at. If you want to finally stop losing sleep every night over what bills you got to pay, if you want to stop figuring out whether you're going to pay this bill or that bill, depending on what your income is that month, if you want to stop worrying that you're not going to have the money to pay your bills, if you've got creditors who are calling you or pushing you for payments, if you want to stop those calls, if you want to find financial freedom, if you want to, I tell a lot of people, I think 2020 has come around and slapped us all pretty hard. And what it's done for a lot of us, and I keep talking about this every week, is it's allowed us, or forced us in some cases, to really think about our lives, our personal relationships, our employment relationships, our financial relationships, and take stock of that and try to figure out, is this the life we want to be leading where we are now, or is there some change we want to make? Is there some life, a different life, a better life, a happier life, a less stressful life that we want to try to get to down the road? And this whole COVID has really given us all, I consider, an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to to reevaluate things, to reboot where we are and see where we want to be. So although bankruptcy can be stressful in the fact that you're going to have to face the issues that got you there, your finances, it can also be so empowering. And what I mean by that, it means you can finally take control, right? Enough is enough. I'm taking control. I'm going to do something different from here on out. The bankruptcy laws were designed to allow people to have a second chance financially. It was designed to allow people to get out from underneath crushing debt so that they can move forward financially. That's what the bankruptcy laws were created to do. So those people who find themselves in a position where they either need to or want to use those bankruptcy laws to their benefit are doing exactly what the legislature wanted us to do when they created these laws. And 2020, in my opinion, is no better time for you to try to empower yourself financially, personally, in your relationships, everywhere in your life, is take control of where you are. Make a decision that enough is enough and move forward to where you can get to that dream that you had maybe 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Are you where you thought you were going to be 10 years ago when you're thinking of your life? Are you where you thought you're going to be 20 years ago when you're thinking of your life? Well, now 2020 may be that chance to reset, like I said, reboot, reimagine, and sort of figure out, can I get to where I want to go? So if you're in a situation like 20 million people out there who are finding it difficult just to pay the bills every month, there is help for you. You have to decide, though, do I want to reach out and take that help? And again, you may contact my office and we may sit down and I may tell you bankruptcy is not what you need to do. Here are some other options that'll get you to the same place. You may come in, though, and we see where you are financially and we see where you want to be in the future, and we decide that is the best bet for you. If it is, then my firm, in a complete no judgment, no guilt atmosphere, because we understand. In fact, we're thrilled that you might be coming to see us, not because you have to do bankruptcy. That's not it. That nobody wants to have to do that. But it's because it tells us you've made a decision. It tells us that you've decided to do better. It tells us that you've decided to make a change in your life so that in the future, you don't have to lose sleep over paying bills. In the future, you don't have to decide over paying one bill or another bill. In the future, you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck, hoping you get some overtime so that you can get your car fixed. In the future, you live a different financial life. And when you come to us and we're in that situation, that's how we're going to try to help you. We're going to help you find where you are today, how you got to where you are today. But most importantly, we're going to help empower you to make decisions to get to the financial freedom you want down the road, so that you can finally be free of the stress of finances, of the stress of not being able to pay bills. This is where you want to be. And if now's a time in your life where you want to explore that, where you want to maybe take that control, then give Probst Law Firm a call. Our consultation is free. We don't charge anything for it. You come in our office, you usually sit down with me, and we will just kind of go over things. I'll explain everything to you A to Z, but we'll dive into who you are. We'll get to know who you are, who your family is, what you want for your future, and then we're going to develop a plan to try to get you there. Maybe bankruptcy, and maybe some other financial assistance. Either way, you're going to feel better whether you decide to do anything or not, to have taken at least the initial step of talking to somebody and deciding, this is how I want to be, this is how I want to live, this is something I need to look at and decide what it is I can do, if anything, to improve my life, to improve the life of your family, to improve the life of your children, however it may be. So we encourage you to, if you have questions, you can set up a consultation at probstlawfirm.com. You can call us at 721-9090, or you can email me, Bob, at Probst Law Firm. But that's sort of the how we view bankruptcy, how we view how we can help people, and that's what we're here to do, help people. Next week, I will talk to you about Chapter 7 in particular, which is basically ridding yourself of all consumer debt. And then the week after that, we'll talk about Chapter 13, which is basically reorganizing your debt so that you do pay some back over time, but in a 3 to 5 year period, you're debt free again. Which one of those you choose or which one of those you may be able to use depends on some factors that we'll go over next week and the week after. So that's my Facebook Live for today. If you got any questions, as usual, reach out to us on our Facebook page, Probst Law Firm. If you got a topic you'd like me to discuss, send me something on Probst Law Firm. Thanks, everybody, and be safe and peace.